This time on episode 266 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we discuss The Punisher Season 1, Episode 10, Virtue of the Vicious, weekly Marvel news, and your feedback. I'm Michelle Ely from the Starlight Tribune, an Arrow TV show fan podcast, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other amazing geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
You have been granted clearance by Director Alfonso Mack Mackenzie. Stand by for a S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Sunday, January 20th, 2019, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Come on and join our live chat as we record. Ladies, happy National Cheese Lovers Day.
I already celebrated. I had mac and cheese muffins for breakfast.
Ooh.
I had this cheesy cauliflower dish that I make for dinner, so that was nice.
There you go. So at my grocery store, I've been getting, for snacks for work, I've been getting the Kraft string cheese, the low-fat version. Mm-hmm. And last week when I went to the store, they were on clearance because my grocery store is no longer selling them. Yeah. String cheese. Low-fat string cheese. Really? You're not selling that anymore? I don't get it.
It's not like there's a shortage of cheese. There's plenty of cheese.
Indeed. I think what they're trying to do is they're pulling the name brand from the wall and they're going to put their store brand up, which I'm not going to like as much. So I need to find another grocery store, I think. Does S.H.I.E.L.D. have a grocery store?
Maybe Kraft is like changing their packaging or something, so whatever they had in stock is on clearance.
I'm hoping that's the case. Sounds like a optimistic case or optimistic view from Haley, which is, that's not always the case. Haley, something must be up with you because you're optimistic. We'll keep tabs on you and make sure you're not sick or anything. All right, so let's get back to the podcast. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based show on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is now in the 35th hiatus week following the season 5 finale. We're waiting for season 6 to start later this year. The multiple Marvel Netflix series, and the Marvel cinematic and comic book universes in general.
Because of always knowing what's in your purse.
If you'd like to talk to us about what's in your purse, you can visit our website, legendsofshield.com.
If you'd like to leave us a voicemail listing everything that's in your purse, you can do so by calling 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
You can hit us up on our Facebook page, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can find videos of us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
If you have an Amazon device, either outside or inside of your purse, you can tell it to enable Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. skill.
And you can join us on our Discord server chat, where we have a whole room dedicated to discussing the contents of people's purses at GonnaGeek.com/Discord.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
Mental note, need to make new channel for purse checking on the Discord server. Thanks, Haley. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
We're going to talk Virtue of the Vicious, which is the Punisher episode we're talking about today. And all 13 episodes of the first season of Punisher aired on Netflix or were made available on Netflix on November 17th, 2017. Guys, we didn't make it. Season 2 aired 3 days ago on January 17th, 2019. Since this is January 20th, we've missed it by 3 days.
Almost, guys. So close.
We'll have to do better next time. Actually,
we've only got 3 episodes to go.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about if there is going to be a next time or not. Of course, we will eventually cover season 2, but we'll have to talk about that whole thing anyway. Haley, who directed this episode of The Punisher?
Well, this episode was directed by Jim O'Hanlon. He has 27 directing credits starting in 1998, including 3 episodes of Coronation Street, 7 of Casualty, 2 of Shameless, 1 of Hemlock Grove, 2 of Sleepy Hollow, and 1 episode of The Punisher.
Interesting combination of shows there. Michelle, who wrote this episode?
This episode was written by Ken Kristensen, has 5 writing credits starting in 2005, including 1 episode of The Punisher, was staff writer of the 13 episodes of the first season, and 1 episode of Happy, is currently the story editor, did 7 episodes of that. And The Punisher is based on the Marvel Comics by Jerry Conway, John Romita Sr., and Ross Andrew.
I have to say, I think Ken did a great job with the script, and we'll get into why in a second. But in the meantime, let's go back to the title, because we often equate the title to the general feel of the episode. Virtue of the Vicious. Haley, you're here this week. You have often some insightful things to say. What can you tell me about the title?
It seems like they're maybe talking about Frank's virtue and comparing that to what Lewis thinks his virtues are. Both of them have a rather vicious nature that we've seen in this season and when Frank was on Daredevil. But one of them has more virtues probably from the audience viewpoint and Karen's viewpoint than the other.
Michelle, do you agree?
I would also throw in Billy Russo, because Billy thinks he is right. He thinks he is doing the right thing when he wants to kill Frank in the stairwell. He thinks he is, well, he thinks he walks on water, basically. He thinks he's wonderful and correct and everything. So I think I would throw Billy in there as well.
The one reason I wouldn't throw Billy in there, and I would agree with you on those parts of the plot, the one reason is he killed Sam and he's hiding from Madani on it, and it's really obvious, and she knows it. She's looking him straight at the face, and he's just avoiding with all get out. He does have an emergency going on, but Madani's not going to forget that confrontation. So I think Madani kind of knows what's going on.
Well, by the end of the episode, she definitely knows what's going on.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, so we know at the end of the episode that she knows what's going on, but actually she's known for the entirety of this episode.
Well, she didn't know for sure. She went to go confront him.
She knew.
Well, yeah, that's why she went to go confront him, because she knew what was going on. And she had to basically okay it with Raffi, even though she didn't tell him what was going on. She got the bug out for Raffi, and all of a sudden he knew that there's some big things going on. He also knows that she might have included him with the grander conspiracy. She did open up with the conspiracy. So William Rollins, aka Agent Orange, if he was in league with Raffi, she's got to watch her back from now on. But if they're not in league, then she at least has some top cover, sort of. I don't know. Nothing's in.
Yeah, well, until her conversation with Micro, she didn't know who above her was the person that she couldn't trust.
Oh,
so
okay.
After that conversation, she was given a name, so she kind of knows in what direction the corruption lies.
Do you think she knew then that Raffi was good for her to talk to?
I think so.
Okay. I did not take that away from it, but you bring up a good point. So we'll go from there. Also, I think I need to say at this point in time, as we start talking about the episode, I got on the elliptical yesterday and I started watching this episode on Netflix, and I was like, what? Because the way it starts at the end, basically,
yes,
after the events. I thought I had missed an episode. I thought, somebody had watched the episode on The Punisher, like my son or something, on my account, and that it skipped forward. So I was like, whoa. So I stopped it. I went back to the table of contents, the episode list, and saw that this was indeed the next episode. So as I was alluding before to Ken, how well this episode was written, it was written really well. It was written in the perspective of 3 or 4 main characters, and it took you through all of their journeys to get the right answer at the end. But it's interesting, as an event like this, it's seen from many different eyes, and you can get a different perspective no matter whose eyes you're looking at it, right, Michelle?
Yeah, it's basically a Rashomon episode. Rashomon is a film by Akira Kurosawa that does like the same event from 4 different viewpoints. I thought it was, like you said, really well done. I think it was interesting about what you had to pay attention to and when, like the way Lewis moves and how at first I didn't see Madani, but then you see Madani. Yeah, it was really well done. I really liked how it started with the senator's viewpoint, and then you just have Karen go. He said he ran for help. Oh, please, come on. The truth is going to hurt his Q rating, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway.
Another episode that we've seen like this, well, not recently, I guess, but the train episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. Have you been rewatching all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes?
No, I thought of it while we were talking about it. This storytelling format where you see the story from different characters' points of view. Only this particular episode that we're watching now threw in an unreliable narrator as well. So we didn't get straight up like what happened from each person.
Yeah.
It's like the story they chose to tell.
So we've been talking along the way here the last few episodes. When is Lewis and Frank's story going to collide? We kind of saw it start last episode. It ended this episode because Lewis killed himself with the bomb in the freezer at the end. Is this a satisfying end to that plot arc, that Frank's or Lewis's journey through this season? I think so. I think they did it well. I think it kind of shocked everybody the way it ended, but I think it was something that was captivating along the way. I was watching the episode. It was just gruesome. It was horrid, and unfortunately a lot of people died during it. It's a Punisher, and you kind of expect that going in. What did you ladies think? Michelle?
Okay, if you separate Lewis's arc out, it does make sense, and the way it ended, it does make sense. My objection is it feels shoehorned in. There's this whole thing about like if you can take, there's like the lamp test, that if you can take out a person from a scene and replace them with the lamp with just like a sticky note or something, like it's still the same thing. I'm not saying Lewis is a sticky note, but if you actually remove this storyline from the season, it's still like, it feels like it didn't make any sort of impact.
So I haven't seen the end of this season yet, but I had the exact same thought. Like, so that's where Lewis ends. You could have just picked that whole thing out and then spent more time developing a different character that's more integral to the main story.
Maybe have a little bit more Karen in the season?
Yes, more Karen.
Yeah, because I really thought
more
Billy
of Madani's mom, because I love that actress.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I thought Billy was going to go back and exploit him or something. Or, yeah, like as of right now, like this is the 10th. We do have 3 more episodes to go. It's like I still don't see why it was in here besides just as a counterpoint to Frank. But you could still have him as a counterpoint to Frank, but still have woven him into one of the main plots or a subplot a little bit better. I know he was connected. It was a way to bring back Karen a little bit, but I would have preferred an actual subplot with Karen throughout the entire season as opposed to Lewis throughout the entire season.
Really, like we had Curtis. I would have rather seen more of his character and him trying to reach out to Frank and get Frank to live a different type of life. I think that would have been a more compelling story. To have, forces that are pushing him to be the Punisher and somebody trying to pull him away from that life.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Do you think we're going to see more Curtis coming up?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I have not seen the rest of the season, and I don't think either of you two have either.
Nope.
So this will be interesting as we go through the final 3 episodes. I'm bought in right now. I'm all interested in what happens to Frank, how the senator, is this going to be the only episode with the senator? I doubt it. I think we're going to see more of the senator going on. We're definitely going to see more of Rollins or Agent Orange going on as well.
It seems like the anti-gun argument was written by pro-gun people, like it's their idea of what the people that are against guns think about guns. Because I don't think there's really anybody on the gun control side that thinks that no one anywhere should have any guns. Because the senator is talking to a private security force and saying they shouldn't have guns. And it's like, I feel like that's a caricature of somebody's position. I think that was in the previous episode more than this one. But
True. I think, and I don't know for sure, I'm not 100%, but I think Great Britain is that way, where guns are
very few police have guns.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an armed citizenry, then it's a lot easier to have an unarmed police force.
Right. And I think that might have been the senator's mindset there.
I just didn't feel like the gun control argument was articulated particularly well. Like, if you're going to try to have that discussion, especially given, like, I know this has been a couple years now, but this season, this series was delayed in launch because there was a mass shooting the week that it was supposed to come out.
That's true. Yeah.
And to then go into the series where there's a lot of guns, and we expect that it's a Punisher show, and then to kind of broach the gun control argument without actually doing it correctly, I don't think that was a good decision.
So to be clear, you think you can have an effective gun control discussion within a Punisher series, but do it differently?
Yes, I think they should have either not tried to do it or actually devote time to doing it correctly. I think what they did is the worst possible middle ground they could have found.
Yeah, I was scratching my head over how do you have a gun control stance in a Punisher series and do it right. I'm not in charge of it, so
No. I think in general we've seen, like, there was an Arrow episode where they tried to discuss gun control as well, and they didn't do it well. I think television is not necessarily the best medium for having that discussion.
not if it's one episode in Arrow. Now, this isn't necessarily one episode. They could have led up to it a little differently, but
Yeah, by dropping the whole Curtis storyline, they would have had some time to fill.
fair enough. Well, we did have really explosive action in this episode, and no pun intended there, but you did have the bomb go off. You had 2 bombs go off, really. And you had some gunfights, and you had a standoff in the stairwell. And Frank, of course, got shot at least twice. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it looked like he had a bulletproof vest on to take some of the hits, but
Well, he got shot a bunch of times on the bulletproof vest.
he got shot. I'm thinking maybe twice in the shoulder or arm, and maybe once in the side of his head or neck.
Yeah, he got grazed. I don't know if he got shot in the arm, but he had like glass sticking out of his arm.
Yeah, he got beat up.
Yeah. So he wasn't using the arm for quite a while until he had to actually.
Until he had to pull himself up the elevator shaft, and then it was fine.
Yeah. There's a lot of Die Hard in this one between the elevator shaft and the fire hose to get him down the stairwell shaft. I mean, effective, but just reminded me of Die Hard.
I mean, physics-wise, shouldn't his shoulder dislocated? Because he just takes the fire hose, grabs it, and jumps.
Yeah, you don't really see exactly what happened. Like, you don't see him like landing or anything.
He falls to the. He stops and then he falls to the stairs.
Yeah.
I think he was falling at an angle. So he was going from one side of the stairs and then eventually got the other side of the stairs. So I don't think the actual fire hose was the end of his fall, although it might have helped his angle at the end. I don't know. But you're right. We didn't see exactly what happened. And then we had, was that the stand? No, that was after the standoff. That was his escape from the standoff. All right, guys, tell me about Madani and Russo pointing guns at each other. Haley, what happened there?
Messy breakup. Yeah, she knows for sure he cannot be trusted, and he thinks he's gonna get away with it, and he's really, really not. Like, he knows he's got high-powered friends, and he thinks that that's gonna protect him, and I just cannot wait for him to get his comeuppance. That smug haircut, stupid face.
Michelle, how does he get away when Madani he was pointing his gun at Madani? They both got taken by the police officers because, you don't know who is the good guy and who's the bad guy. But once they ascertain what's going on, why is Billy not in custody?
Isn't he though? She's not, because she's the agent.
Oh yeah.
But I don't see. Yeah, he's.
So the episode starts with his interrogation.
Yeah.
And the detective lets him go. I think it's because there was enough chaos going on that he can say, "Oh, I was pointing at Castle, this criminal who just killed a bunch of my guys. That's what I was doing. I don't know what she was doing."
Yeah, and she can't fully say why she was pointing a gun at Russo without giving everything away.
Mhm.
So she can't show all her cards to the NYPD, which is great to see Mahoney again.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's probably why he's not in custody. Now it's going to be her trying to get to Frank before Russo gets to Frank, because Russo is going to want to kill Frank, and Madani is going to try to bring Frank in to testify.
So Karen had a few pivotal moments in this entire thing. First of all, she saved the senator's life, got him out of the way. And then she was captured and she disarmed the bomb, correctly picking up on what Frank was saying. And then she actually, in the meantime, had a heart-to-heart conversation with Madani. She had an excellent episode.
I love that kitchen scene. He just was able to mention the white wire, and then she's just like, feeling the wires, and then he's just like, saying things and moving his head a certain way. And then she, and then she has her hand in the purse, and then he's, you know what's in your purse, right, Karen? You know what's in there. And the fact that she was like able to pull the wire and shoot Lewis at the same time. And it's like she got to have her own little action sequence. And then in the elevator, was I the only one that was going, kiss?
Kiss. No, I could hear Lauren screaming from here. I'm assuming that's why her voice is out now. Is she was watching this episode and telling them to kiss. So
I could see that. Yeah. Lauren is not with us tonight because she was feeling under the weather. She actually said her voice was out. So I think you're absolutely correct, Haley. Lauren is
headcanon accepted.
Yep. It's good enough for me there. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking that Karen was thinking things through, and she was just thinking, well, he's listed as killing 37 people that they know of, and no matter what happens here, he's going to jail if they catch him. So there's just no way for us to have a relationship out in the open. So I'm not going to kiss him. That's what I was thinking, that some rational thought was going through her head. Am I completely wrong on that?
I think she knows that a relationship with him would not be a good idea. He's not really in an emotional or mental place to handle a relationship. But she wants it.
Yeah, and I think she realizes. I think she's actually learned from her mistake with Matt, because Matt really wasn't in an emotional place for them to have a relationship, but they still had one anyway. And I think she realizes, oh, I know that look. I fell for that look once before, and it did not end well. I need to back away.
Well, and she also knows that his mission isn't complete yet. So there's not room for her in his life, because the mission is all consuming for him.
Just like Daredevil.
Indeed. So after this episode, I actually purchased a Ring doorbell because I don't want to use my peephole anymore.
This is why you wave your hand. This is why you wave your hand in front of your peephole before you look through it.
Yeah, I always do that. I don't use my peephole because I'm too short. I can't really see that high.
Oh, you don't have a little stool in front of the door?
No, because then it would be right in front of my door.
You could move it in and out of the way.
It's easier to just open the door. Take my chances.
Okay.
I'm pretty scrappy. Feel like I could take them.
That was cold. I've seen that before, but this one was definitely cold when Lewis shoots the guy.
See, what happens is if you just open the door, they're not expecting it. So then you see a guy standing there with a gun and you push him down the stairs.
Those poor birds. They're just there in the cage.
Yeah, and they're just huddled together, trying to stay away from Lewis. That's what I took from that. I was thinking they don't want to come anywhere near him.
No, I took it as like they don't know how to live a life outside of that cage.
Yeah, it's symbolic of Frank and Lewis. They are stuck in a mission, stuck in a cage. They can't escape it. Symbolism.
Even though the door is open, they can't get out of that cage.
Okay.
It's Symbolism 101. It's a high school English class,
I don't think I was thinking high school English class when I was watching this. It's just a lot of death and destruction.
I was thinking about the Ellen comedy special, actually, because she had a metaphor about a bird in a cage with the door open.
Wow. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, you should watch it. It's good.
Was it an HBO special or?
No, it's a Netflix special.
Oh, okay.
That's where all the comedies are going now, is Netflix. It's awesome.
I've seen lots of things about the comedy specials and about people producing it themselves now because they know that's where the money is, but because they can control their own IP. But I'm not a comedian. I don't have my own specials, but I appreciate the good ones. Haley, do you have anything else about this episode?
About this episode. No, now I'm thinking about Netflix comedy specials. Sorry. You should watch Nanette, everybody.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. And then Trevor Noah's new one, Son of Patricia. That was also pretty good.
Too.
Is this our palate cleanser comedy specials?
I saw Eliza Schlesinger in Tempe. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, I love her stuff. I've only seen it, on Netflix.
Yep.
I like her millennial one where because she's like she's like the older millennial.
Yep. She's like the oldest people that are still considered millennials, so she's an elder millennial.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, her new stuff was all about her wedding, basically.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
So do you have anything else to say about this episode? Start by.
I am all in on the series, like I said, and can't wait for the next 3 episodes. I'm just amazed that we have 3 episodes left because we didn't have any Micro. We didn't have any Micro's family this episode. But now we've all talked about the fact that Frank's been in the news and she knows who Frank is now.
Still, it's like, how did she not know that he was Frank Castle before? That is still the part that I find a little hard to swallow.
Yeah, we talked about that in the wine night and stuff.
But I feel like we've got a couple things left for the season that are big ones to wrap up. The big one, we've got the confrontation between Russo and Frank and Agent Orange and Frank. And then also, I think Micro reuniting with his family has to happen this season.
I was going to ask about that. I didn't know the comic background if Micro ever...
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Michelle, what about you? This episode in the season?
I'm pretty wrapped up with I don't think I have anything else to say about the episode. But when it comes to the season, I feel like this is yet another pattern of the Marvel Netflix where you've got the ramp up and then you've got that lull. And then we've got they're really cool, last 3 episodes. Not only do those things have to happen, but Frank is now known alive, but now you've got to also get him back to being alive yet free in order for season 2 to happen. He can't really be
wanted like he is and be able to function in society. There has to be some sort of, I don't know, deal going to happen.
It's a good insight. Where exactly is Frank free to go at the end, or is he free to be in the underground, or does he escape, or what's going on with Frank at the end? Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how he survives in the comics. I'm not a Punisher comic reader. In my defense, I wasn't really a comic reader at all until a couple of years ago. So a lot to catch up on out there.
I mean, I think he's just kind of a criminal, considered a criminal for most of the run of his comics. It's him and Micro in a van on the run.
Well, if that's true, Micro's connection with his family would be difficult to maintain.
It might be that he decides that, like, for their safety, even though this particular threat is gone, that they're better off without him.
So maybe he meets up with the family so they know he's alive, but they also rationally say, well, I can't be with you because of the danger, and then slips away. I could see that, but yeah, she doesn't know. They don't know that he's still there after all this. Okay. Well, looking forward to next episode, which is episode 11 of the first season. Have to qualify that now that season 2's out. Danger Close. So we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, Michelle, if you've enjoyed this and you actually happen to have a podcast on your own, what would you recommend?
I recommend going to the GonnaGeek.com network. If you've enjoyed this episode and you have a geeky related podcast of your own that you think you would be a good fit for the network, fill out application form found at www.gonnageek.com/join. We are a great network. We have over 20 shows ranging from tech to comic books to video games. So come on, check us out.
All right. So, as everyone knows, the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer came out over the last week, and we see New York City's hometown hero taking on Europe.
Yeah, in the trailer, you know, the superhero mostly closely associated with New York finds himself a long way from the friendly neighborhoods of his native Queens. Peter Parker gets ready for a much-needed European vacation, and he doesn't even bother to pack his suit, but his travel plans are derailed in Venice by Nick Fury. And it's a really good trailer, kind of funny. I love the, we learned that now Aunt May knows that he's Spider-Man. That's a reveal in the trailer, but that first moment with, you know, her and Happy, and he's just like, what's going on here? But anyway, the movie comes out July 5th. So, and in also related Spider-Man trailer news, in 24 hours, it had 130 million views, and it breaks Sony's record, which was set by Spider-Man Homecoming with 116 million views in 24 hours. So, wow.
Wow. See, this is what collaboration could get you, Sony. You get a good story going, and you get a good showrunner, Kevin Feige, to actually produce your movies for you and have a character within a larger universe. I think this has worked out for both houses right now, and there's a lot of money to be made. No use in quibbling about it.
Well, speaking of Kevin Feige, he was honored by receiving a prestigious producer award at the PGA Awards.
Yeah, on January 19th, Kevin Feige, who started his career as an errand boy for Richard Donner, received the prestigious David O. Selznick Award. Considered as one of the highest honors in Hollywood, the Selznick Award is one of the biggest achievements a producer can earn. Presented to him at the Producers Guild Awards by the one and only Robert Downey Jr., Feige emphasized the power of cinema and superheroes in his acceptance address. Quote, people can lump Marvel films as superhero movies or comic book movies, but to us, they are movies. Previous honorees have included DC's Charles Roven and Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy.
Anybody see the name Robert Downey Jr. in award ceremony and think Iron Man, like the original Iron Man? with the award ceremony that he avoided.
I hadn't thought of it before, but now I do.
Yeah. This is a little bit erotic there, but yeah, that's awesome. Well done, Kevin. I was up in the air when we started this podcast. I was really up in the air on Kevin Feige, whether he was a true genius of everything, but everything he's touched has been golden so far. It's hard to argue with him. And I don't think there's anybody behind him. I think it's just him and whoever he's selected to give him great advice. So on that level, I would say he's better than George Lucas, because Lucas was just terrible of surrounding himself with people that could effectively execute his vision. When it comes down to it, he was just a guy who said it's going to be this and that's going to be that.
Well, I think in the beginning, he hired good people that would tell him no. And then later, he didn't hire anybody that would tell him no.
Once he got to the point where, okay, no, this is what's going to work. Okay. Fair enough. Well, congratulations to Kevin. And we look for more great things, including Endgame, which, it's hard for me to argue with the success of Infinity War, even if I didn't like a few things in the film. But he's done great things, and Endgame's coming up. Of course, Captain Marvel's coming up first. Can't wait for that. So that's the 3 films in 2019, right? Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, and Endgame, right?
Yep. Not in that order, but yes, those are the movies.
Okay, in order, I believe it is
Captain Marvel,
Endgame. Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
There you go.
If we're going to talk about the trailer, we have to talk about the fact that what's-his-face had the fishbowl for the helmet. Like, you never thought they would really do that in a live-action movie, and they did it, and it's awesome.
I know Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio.
Mysterio, that's the name I couldn't remember.
And yeah, for him, he's not a bad looking guy. I mean, we see him without it, but the fact that he actually puts it on and does his thing, that's really cool that we're getting a comic book accurate, suit from that. And of course, I really love the last bit where you have the kid who's like, I love Spider-Man. And then he turns to Peter and then insults him because he doesn't realize. I thought that was funny, but that's me.
Classic Spider-Man.
Indeed. This week over in the Discord channel, I put a little feeler out in our channel, the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. channel in the Discord server. Said, hey, we're going to be discussing this episode of The Punisher this week. What do you guys think? We had Johnny Bacon say, it demonstrated why I want a peephole camera so I never have to put my eye to the door. Totally agree, Johnny. Totally agree. We also had Mark D basically say, Madani equals cojones. Now, in reality, he just said cojones, but he was responding to a previous post. So Madani equals cojones. And after this episode, I'd have to say yes.
Yep.
Okay. So that was all the great feedback and a lot of other discussion over in the Discord server, both in our channel and in other channels. So go check it out and be part of the conversation. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and grab a citywide zip line and zip line this one out. Thank you, everyone who's hung in there with us. We really appreciate it as we go through the backlog of Netflix Marvel properties, which will probably be ending sometime soon. And as we wait for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6 premiere in a few months, it's supposed to be June. We don't know for sure, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to everyone that has hung with us through the long and dark hiatus. No worries about Netflix canceling all the Marvel shows because we're way behind on them anyways. So joke's on them. Ha.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who interacts with us on Discord and Twitter. We really enjoy hearing from you.
We do indeed. So with that, until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
See everybody next time. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2013 through 2019.